Now that you've completed your floor plan, we're going to begin with dimensioning. The first thing that you're going to have to do is you have an original drawing. You're going to make 3 copies of this original drawing, which will save you a tremendous amount of time. But you have to make sure before you begin your dimensioning that you'll have 3 copies. I've put 2 examples of a dimensioned plan on the board. There are 2 examples, and there are a few things that you need to understand about dimensioning. Why do we dimension a plan? We want to make sure that we show the builder the width and the length of the building. We want to identify where our windows and our doors are located, to identify the fireplace, to identify closets, all the interior doors, garage doors, and the baths and the kitchens. Things that you have to remember when you're dimensioning and that you'll notice on this plan, and this is one of the most important things about dimensioning. You need to see a difference between the dimension line and your object lines. Your object lines are your walls. You want to be able to see a difference between the lines because they are different. So your dimension lines are thinner, they're still dark, they're single stroke lines, and they're thinner. So that's how you can see the difference between your object line and your dimension line. It may take a little while practicing till you get it right. Now remember, we're doing using a 2H pencil for our object lines. Since the dimension lines have to be a little bit thinner, you may find you're able to use the 4H if you press harder, or you can still use your 2H, but you have to definitely have a different pressure in the pencil so that you see the difference in your lines. So you want to practice that, and you can practice that on a copy, not one of the 3 copies that you made, because the 3 copies that you made are on vellum. You can make a copy on regular bond paper and practice on bond paper first. Things that you'll notice on the dimension plan, and I did a little bit larger one so that you can see, is that we need to identify our windows, okay, and our doors. Our doors, okay. Our windows have a circle with a letter. Our doors have a number with the hexagon. And you can find the circles on your circle template, and the hexagons are on your plumbing template. Things to take notice of when you begin with your dimensions. The first dimension should be 1 inch away from the drawing. It's so that we see a separation from the dimensions to the object that you've drawn. The next dimension line will be 1/2 inch, and this is in actual scale. It's not in 1/4 inch scale. Your floor plan's in 1/4 inch scale, but now when I'm giving you some measurements, they are in the actual scale. So 1 inch, then 1/2 inch, and then 1/2 inch again. And if you needed another dimension line, you would go 1/2 inch. You would keep them a 1/2 inch apart. The numbers, okay, are 1/8 of an inch high, and they are 1/16 of an inch away from the dimension line. You want to make sure you do not put the number directly on the dimension line. Again, everything is for clarity. If someone is reading the drawings and they need to know measurements, you want to make sure they are not making any mistakes. Mistakes cost money, so you have to be very clear with your dimensions. You also are using guidelines. So once you measure your 1/16 of an inch above and 1/8 an inch for the number, you can draw guidelines running across the length of the dimension. You'll notice you're not going to run the line all the way across because we don't want to see that guideline. You're going to do it very, very lightly. You can use your 4H pencil and you'll put it in the center of the area where you're going to write a dimension. You'll also notice that the dimensions are in feet and inches. There are times if you're doing a detail that you're working in just inches, but for dimensioning a floor plan, you will show feet and inches. If you only have inches, so if it's for a measurement that is less than a foot, you will only use inches. And here I've shown a dimension that is very small. If you're in 1/4 inch scale and you have a very small dimension of 4 inches, you can use what's known as a leader line. It's an arrow that points to the area where the dimension is, but you're pulling it away from the dimension because it's so small. You want to make sure that you can read it. You'll notice at the end of your dimension lines, there are these tick marks, okay? They are a diagonal line that you can use your 45-degree triangle for, and you're going from the upper left to the lower right. And when you do the dimensions on the side, these are vertical dimensions, these are horizontal. We're still going upper left to lower right in the way that we read. You'll notice that when you put your dimensions, the horizontal dimensions are read from the bottom of the plan. The vertical dimensions, whether on the left side or the right side of your drawing, they are read from the right, and the dimension is always above the dimension line. You will also be including interior dimensions, and you don't want to forget those. They are very important. So our outside dimensions, what they typically identify, the one furthest away is the overall. So what is the overall size of the object that you're measuring or dimensioning? The next set of dimensions for a floor plan are identifying the walls, and they're the walls that touch the exterior walls. The next set of dimensions are identifying where are your windows, where are your doors. If there's a fireplace, you'll identify that. Where we have a porch, there's some more dimensions that you may need to put in there. But we're going from the largest dimension to the smallest dimension. You also want to make sure that your dimensions add up. So all of the smaller dimensions should add up to the largest dimension. And here we have 2 smaller dimensions. Make sure it adds up to the larger dimension. You must always check that in all areas of the plan. Now, when dimensioning the interior, you have to imagine if you were building this space, what dimensions would you need? And the first thing that you want to identify are the interior walls. So you will look at the plan and just make sure wherever you will need a dimension, you try to create a string of dimensions to make it easier to read. It doesn't always work out that way, but you do try to do that to identify an area and all the walls that are on the inside. And that's what you have to do. You have to go through the house and just make sure that if I'm drawing this wall, is that identified? If I'm drawing this wall, you make sure that it is identified with a dimension. This wall is running through the center of the house, but it doesn't touch an exterior wall, so we have to make sure that we get that dimension in there. If there are archways, you need to give dimensions for where the archways are. If there are widths of closets, you have to give that dimension, and you have to remember that you are measuring to the center of interior walls. If you are measuring to an outside wall, it goes to the outside. Okay, outside to outside, because these are 2 outside walls. Okay, but this is an interior wall, so you have to measure to the center of the interior wall. I also wanted to remind you that in your textbook, Chapter 7 includes dimensioning. You also want to make sure as you're dimensioning, you have your window and your door schedule. You have your plans. These will be guidelines for you. And you want to make sure that for your stairs, you identify with an arrow in the direction of the stairs and the number of risers that you have. Another thing you're going to include on your dimension plan is a north arrow. And there are several ways that you can draw the north arrow. But the north arrow is very important to include on your plans so you know which way the house is facing. And lastly, to put your scale of the drawing. If you only have a single drawing and it's in 1/4 inch scale, you can put that in your title block. But you may have drawings that have multiple drawings on it, and they may be in a different scale. When you have that, you want to make sure that you label each drawing with the appropriate scale right at the drawing. And in your title block, where you have scale, you can write scale as noted. So just a few things to make sure of. Key thing, dimension lines are thinner than object lines. That's something that you really have to perfect, so make sure that you practice that. Another thing that you may have to do is make a copy of your plan, because you want to make sure when you print that, because you'll be handing in a copy to me. I never get original drawings, you always hand in a copy. So you want to make sure when it prints, you're able to read the object lines very clearly, and they're very dark, but that the dimension lines, even though they're lighter, they have to print on your copy. So sometimes you may be going too light, and when you print it, you can't see your dimension lines. So you have to make sure you get the right line weight. Line weight is critical in our drawings, and it's something that you have to perfect.
Hey guys, now I'm going to show you how we dimension our floor plan. So we're starting with the measurements, and we're using an actual scale. This is our actual scale, and we're going to start from the outside wall. I'm going to draw a vertical line. So we're measuring from the vertical line, and it's going to be very light. I'm going to measure 1 inch from the outside wall. This is our 1 inch, and then we're going to go 1/2 inch for the second dimension line, and then 1/2 inch for the third dimension line. Okay, and I'm gonna do a vertical line on the other side of the plan. That's where our dimension line's gonna stop. Okay. And then I'm gonna draw horizontal lines. So the first one, 1 inch away from the floor plan. The second one, 1/2 inch away from the first dimension line. And the third one is also 1/2 inch away from the second dimension line. And I'm just gonna darken my vertical lines. Here and here. Alright. Now we're gonna draw vertical lines from the outside wall to the center of the wall, referring to our floor plan. So I'm going from the center, and I already have the marks here. So I'm just going to draw vertical lines to the second. So this is our overall dimension, and this is going to be the walls, the second one. So I'm just drawing the vertical line till this line. And then I have the center for this wall. And I have the center for this wall. Okay, and now we're gonna move on to our third dimension line. That's gonna be our windows and doors. And I do already have the mark for the window, so I can use that. That's the center from the outside wall to the center of the window. And that's gonna end on this dimension line here. And this is the center, goes from here to here. This is my center. And then I have this window. And I have this door. Okay, and now we're gonna move on to this side. So the same, we're using our actual scale. So I'm measuring, first I'm gonna draw a horizontal line from the outside wall, so we can measure from that line. Very light. 1 inch. And then 1/2 inch. And another 1/2 inch. So I have it here, and then I'm gonna draw a horizontal line from the outside wall on this side here. And now I'm gonna use my straight edge to draw vertical lines. And I'm also having 3 dimension lines here. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And I'm gonna just darken those lines. And those dimensions lines start a little bit over the floor plan, the outside walls. And you can erase those lines that we don't need anymore. And now we're gonna draw the second dimension line. We have fireplace here. So let's, we're gonna do the walls, I'm sorry. We're doing the walls to the center. So I do have the center, it's over here. So we're gonna go to the second dimension line over here. And now we're gonna move to the third dimension line. That's gonna be our fireplace and the window. And the fireplace is going from here. We have the measurement to here. And then the next dimension we have to the center. We already have it. And then we're gonna mark our window, the center of the window. I do have it here. So I just go to here. And for this side we're done, and I'm gonna move to the bottom of our floor plan, and I'm gonna draw vertical lines from the outside wall to the outside wall here. And on this vertical line I'm measuring 1 inch in our actual scale. And then second line is gonna be 1/2 inch, and another third line is gonna be 1/2 inch also. So now I'm drawing horizontal lines. 1, 2, and 3. And as you notice on this floor plan, we're actually having 4 dimension lines, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm gonna add a 4th one, and it's gonna be 1/2 inch. gonna measure another 1/2 inch. Here it is, and I'm drawing a horizontal line. And I'm gonna darken my vertical lines. And I'm gonna erase the lines that I don't need. So we have the overall dimension of 60 feet. The second dimension line we're having from the outside wall to the outside wall. So this is the outside wall, and then this is the outside wall. So I'm going from this line to here. And then we have second wall from the outside to the outside. So from here we're having dimension to this outside wall. So I'm going from here to here. And then we have another center of that wall. So the center I have here, and I'm going to draw a vertical line like that. And then we're going to move to the third dimension line. On the third dimension line, we have our doors and windows. So we're having the window, and we do have the center of the window. So I'm just going to draw a vertical line from the center of the window to the third dimension line. And then over here I do have the center also. And then we have the door. But the door is going, I have the overall, I have the walls. And then I have the windows. And then I have the door here, center. 2, 4. And this line is actually going to the fourth dimension line. So I'm just going to erase this with my erasing shield. You gotta be very careful with that, where your dimension line is going. And also this window is going to our fourth dimension line. So I'm going to erase this to this level. Alright. Then we have our door, and then we're having our window, which I have the center for already. Okay. And we have one more. This is a garage door. And we need to find the center for the garage door. We're working 1/4 inch. Let me measure the garage door. So it's 8 feet. The center is going to be at the 4 feet. I'm going to mark it here. And then from the center, I'm going to draw a vertical line to here. Okay. And I'm going to move on to the next side, the left side. So I'm drawing a horizontal line here. And horizontal line here. Measuring 1 inch. 1 inch and 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to darken my horizontal lines. erase those lines. And now I'm gonna do the walls. So we have wall 1 and 2, so centers of those walls. I have the center here. This is my center, and this is going to the second dimension line, and also from here to here. I will have this line, we have the center, and then this one also. Okay, and then we're gonna do our windows. So I have the center for my window, and I'm gonna draw a line to the third dimension line, and this window, the central. Okay, and now I'm gonna do my tick marks. I'm gonna sharpen the pencil really quickly. And using my straight edge, using the 45-degree angle, I'm gonna draw tick marks. Just slide it along the parallel bar to make it easier for you. Okay, this side is ready. I'm gonna move to the next one. And over here, I'm gonna draw the tick marks this way. And then move to this side. And this one goes all the way to the second dimension line. That's my facing shield. Okay. And the next one. Okay. And then we also need to add a line for our porch, which comes from the center of this square, and it's gonna go to our second dimension line, actually third. To here. And now we're gonna move to the next side. So it's a little bit crooked. Alright. And now we're gonna draw our guidelines for the numbers. So the guidelines supposed to be using our actual scale, and it should be 1/16 of an inch. So I'm measuring 1/16 of an inch on this vertical line. And the numbers are supposed to be 1/8 of an inch high. So I'm doing mark here. And also I need 1, 2, 3. So I'm doing it for each dimension line. 1/8 of an inch, and then 1/16. Then I have 1/16, 1/8 of an inch. And we're gonna draw horizontal lines very slightly. You barely can see them. Alright, I have it here. And then I'm gonna write down our dimensions. So we have 7 feet 6 inches. And I'm gonna do 7 feet 6 inches, and this is 3 feet 10 inches. So I'm eyeing the center of this dimension line, and I'm putting it over here, 3 feet 10 inches, and then I'm moving to the next dimension line. So the center would be here, and this is 11 feet 4 inches. 11 feet 4 inches. And I'm gonna do the overall dimension, which is 60 feet. So the center will be here, 60 feet 0 inches. And I'm gonna also draw a few dimensions here. Let's use the actual scale. So first you have to measure 1/16 of an inch, and then for the numbers 1/8 of an inch. 1/16 and 1/8. And for this one, I do need to continue my line, but very lightly, just to measure off of it. And I have 1/16 and 1/8. I'm gonna use my straight edge. I'm doing them super light so you don't have to erase them. Alright, and you're gonna write down the number here. Let's see, the first one is going to be 10 feet 4 inches. So I'm gonna write it down here. Oh, I'm so sorry. This is the wrong way. I need to draw the guidelines over the line. So just be very careful with that, where you're drawing your guidelines. So it has to go over the line, not under. So let's fix this. So I'm measuring 1/16 and 1/8. And over here I have to go 1/16 and 1/8. And just draw those out. Okay, and then I have those lines. This line, and this line. And then here I'm going to draw 1/16 and 1/8. Okay. And now I'm gonna do the overall 30 feet 0 inches. Eyeing the center of our dimension line and putting 30 feet 0 inches. And this dimension line is from the outside wall to the center of the window. That's going to be 10 feet 4 inches. So I'm eyeing the center, 10 feet 4 inches. And remember that the dimension number goes over the line, not under. So I'm going to show you guys how I do the guidelines here. So I'm going to do 1/16 and from the dimension line and 1/8 for the height of our numbers. 1/16, 1/8, 1/16, 1/8, and again 1/16 and 1/8. And you can also do just the centers if you would like. It's up to you. I like to do it all the way but very slightly. And it's very important to have your guidelines before you write down the numbers, all the dimensions, because it's easy to read and it looks neat. Alright, and I'm gonna write down a few dimensions here so you could see how it's supposed to be written. So over here I have from the outside wall to the center of the window 6 feet 2 inches. So I'm eyeing the center of the dimension line and putting my number over here within those guidelines. 6 feet 2 inches. And the next one is going to be from the outside to the center of this wall. And I'm eyeing the center and I'm putting 11 feet 4 inches. 11 feet 4 inches. And I'm gonna do the overall dimension, which is 60 feet. I'm eyeing the center of this dimension line and putting the number 60 feet 0 inches within those guidelines. And over here we're gonna measure the same. Remember, the numbers go over the line, not under. So I'm just gonna continue this line so I can measure 1/16 and 1/8 off of that line. Always measure from the line, not in the space. So I have 1/16, 1/8, 1/16, 1/8, 1/16, 1/8, and I'm gonna draw vertical lines with my straight edge, very light. Those guidelines are just for yourself, so the numbers are all aligned and organized. And let's see what we have. So for this one, from the outside wall to the center of this window, I have 10 feet. So I'm eyeing the center of this dimension line and putting my number 10 feet 0 inches. And I'm gonna do the overall, which is 30 feet. I'm eyeing the center of this dimension line and putting the number within those guidelines, 30 feet 0 inches. All right, so now we have all of our dimension, with the outside dimension lines with the numbers. And next I'm going to show you how to draw the circles which represent the windows, and the hexagons which represent our doors. So I'm going to use a template for the circle windows, the circle windows. So I do have the hexagon, and I'm going to use the circle for the window. And the circle goes just above the window, it's not touching the window. So I'm going to draw it right here, as you have it on your floor plan. And then you can erase the inside of it right away. So I have my first circle for this window. And then I'm having the second circle for the next window. And if you would like, if it's easier for you, draw the guideline also. That would be very nice to have. So all the circles are aligned. So where you're gonna have the window, just make a slight mark so you know where to start drawing your circle and hexagon. Okay, next one. See, I see where I can start the circle. To draw the circle, that's going to be exactly aligned with my first one. And I'm going to erase the line in the center that we don't need. And then I have the third window, and I'm going to draw a circle on this guideline. It really helps to align all of them. Right, and I have my fourth window. Right here. And the next one is going to be the sliding door. So I'm going to use the hexagon shape. This template has the hexagon, and I'm putting it this way as on our floor plan. And I'm also using my guideline. And I'm going to erase the vertical line. Okay, now I have it. And now you see how to draw the circles and the hexagons. And you're gonna put the numbers, the letters for your windows here. So this is A, this is window B, and if you're trying to line those up, it would be a nice idea to just use slight guidelines, as I do here. This one is window B. This is also B. This one is C. And this is a number 7 door. Okay, now we have all our circles and hexagons. And now we're moving to our inside dimensions. So first we're gonna do our fireplace. Just gonna draw using the straight edge. We need to draw the opening for our fireplace. So all we're doing is just drawing the lines from the opening, the horizontal lines. Here, from here. And the dimension line never touches the object itself, just a little bit over. So we're going to continue this line, and the dimension is going to go right here. And tick marks. And the next one, we're going to do the guidelines. So we need to continue this line so I can measure off of it. So this is going to be 1/16, and this is going to be 1/8. Very slight, very light. And this is going to be 3 feet. I'm eyeing the center. So this is going to be 3 feet, 0 inches. And then you can erase the lines that you don't need. So now we have our fireplace. And now we need to show the depth of our hearth of the fireplace. So we're going to show it here. Tick marks, and this is gonna be 1/16, 1/8. And 1 foot 6 inches. All right, and now I'm gonna show you how to do this door. So we have the hexagon for this door. Okay, here I have the hexagon. And right over this line here, somewhere in the middle, I'm drawing the hexagon. And number 2 here. And this has to be like that. And we need to also, I forgot, for those windows and doors, we need to continue the line, the dotted line that goes through here. One line here and one here, and the same way for the rest of them. All right. Okay, now we have the window at the porch, and I'm gonna use the circle right here. I'm gonna erase the vertical line that we don't need anymore. And then again, it's gonna go all the way here, dotted. And I'm gonna put the letter D here for this type of window. And I'm gonna do the rest of the windows with the circles. Just a little below the window, not touching the window. And I'm gonna put the letters A and letter A. And I'm gonna continue this line to go through here. Just like that. And we have 2 more windows. One here and one here. And those are letters A. And I'm gonna continue the line through the wall, dotted, through the wall and dotted. And now we're gonna do the dimensioning of the doors and openings. Okay. So let's do the opening here. So we have the center of this wall. This dimension is from the center of this wall to the end of this wall. So I'm gonna mark center and draw a horizontal line till this opening. I'm gonna use my straight edge to draw vertical lines from here to here. And I also need to mark this here, and then this opening. And do the tick marks. And let's do the closet. The closet is going from the center of this wall to the center of that wall. And I'm going to do the tick mark here. I'm going to sharpen the pencil to make it nice and clean. Alright, let's continue to draw the numbers. And I'll have to continue this vertical line to measure off of it. And we're using our actual scale. It's going to be 1/16 and 1/8. And the line's gonna be super light. And now here I have the opening that measures 6 feet, lying the center, 6 feet 0 inches, and here I have 2 feet 2 inches, 2 feet 2 inches, and the closet from the center of the wall to the center of the wall is 6 feet 8 inches, 6 feet 8 inches. Now I'm gonna do this closet. I'm just gonna draw the horizontal line from the outside to the center. So the center of this wall we already have, so I'm just gonna draw it out here like that. And the outside we didn't have it. So I'm just gonna draw a vertical line. Actually, I'm gonna draw a long horizontal line for all those dimensions. And I'm gonna just mark where it's gonna stop. So it's gonna stop right here at the center of this wall. So I'm drawing the vertical line there. And we're gonna draw it here. From the outside wall, just gonna continue to the end of this mark. So this is going from the center of this wall to the center of that wall, and I have the center. And then we're having the center of this wall. And then we have the center of this wall as well. And then I'm just gonna do one guideline for all of those. So I'm gonna measure it off of here. 1/16 and 1/8. And I'm gonna draw a very light line. And I'm gonna eye the center of this dimension line, so it's gonna be 7 feet 8 inches. 7 feet 8 inches. And this opening is 3 feet 8 inches. 3 feet 8 inches. From here to here, it's 5 feet 6 inches. And then from here to here is 3 feet 6 inches, and here I have 2 feet 6 inches. And then I have the dimension for this opening for the hallway. So it's measuring from the center of this wall. So here I need to find the center. So this is the center of my wall. 4-inch wall, that's gonna be 2. And I'm gonna draw it right here, and it's going to the center of this wall. So let's measure 2 inches, and we're working in 1/4-inch scale. So I'm going right here and measuring this wall. So I need to find the center of this wall. So we have 4 inches, we go 2 inches here. So this is gonna be the center of this wall, and we're gonna draw a line there. And then I'm going to use the straight edge to draw this dimension. I'm just going to continue this line because I didn't know how far it would go. And this one also. And here I'm going to measure our guidelines. And the guidelines we're doing in actual scale. So I'm changing into an actual scale. So it's going to go 1/16, 1/8. And very light lines. And this opening is 3 feet 6 inches. Eyeing the center, 3 feet 6 inches. Okay, now we need to do dimensions of this closet and this closet. And this closet is measuring also from the center of this line, of this wall, to the center of this wall, and I need to mark where my center is. So I'm drawing a line here, and this is going to the outside wall. So I'm just drawing a continuous line from here to the outside wall. Oh yeah, and don't forget your tick marks. You're indicating where it goes from to where it goes to. From where to where. Okay. And then I'm gonna do those dimensions. So we need to measure in actual scale 1/16 and 1/8. So I'm just gonna do the center of here and center here, then center here and center here. So this one is 7 feet 10 inches, and this closet is 2 feet 5 inches. So I'm gonna draw 2 feet 5 inches. Okay, now I have this closet, and I also need to add the hexagon for the doors. So I'm gonna use the hexagon to the center of the closet. So right here. And it is going to be number 5. Okay, and this door is also hexagon number 1. It's right in the center, so I'm putting it right here. And it is going to be number 1. So our next dimensions, we're gonna do this wall. So this measures 4 feet 5 inches from the outside to the outside. So I'm just gonna continue our dimension line here. And from the outside to here. And the tick marks I'm gonna make from the outside to the outside wall. And I can use our measurements for guidelines, so I'm just gonna bring it here. 4 feet 5 inches, eyeing the center, 4 feet 5 inches. Okay. And now I'm gonna move on to our bathroom, master bedroom bathroom. So we have the door as a hexagon and number 4. So I'm drawing a hexagon here. And it's going to be number 4. I'm gonna add it here. Okay, and we have dimensions over on this wall from the outside to the center of the door, and then from the center to the center of this wall. So I'm gonna draw a line here. So from the center, and then the center of this wall, and the outside wall. So I'm just gonna draw a vertical line here, like that. And I'm gonna make the tick marks. So this one is going to the outside. So I'm marking the outside. And I'm gonna measure in actual scale our guidelines. So this is going to be 1/16, 1/8. And this one is 1 foot 10 inches. 1 foot 10 inches. And this dimension is 3 feet 8 inches. Now we're gonna add a hexagon to this closet and all the doors. Where is our hexagon? Over here. So we have two closets here. So in the center, hexagon here, and one hexagon here. And those are number 5s. So 5 and 5. Actually, I don't need those here. Okay. And now I need to add the hexagons for the rest of the doors. Hexagon. Here it is. Here. And above. Here and so 3 of the doors are the same. This is number 3 door, number 3. This one is number 3, and this is the 4. So we have dimensions here. We have all of our windows. And we need to add the hexagon for our garage door, which I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna erase the center line. And it is going to be number 8. We have dimensions for the closet. And don't forget to put the risers on your staircase. Drawing a vertical line down with an arrow. And it's gonna be down D and 14 risers. 14 R. And we need to add the dimensions for this opening and those dimensions for the kitchen and the living room. So I'm going to draw dimensions here. So we're drawing the horizontal lines here, here. So it is going to the outside wall. So I'm drawing a vertical line from the outside to here. And don't forget the tick marks indicating where it starts and ends. Now I'm gonna measure our guidelines in an actual scale. So we're going over the line. So 1/16, 1/8. And this one is 2 feet 10 inches. 2 feet 10 inches. So the next one is going to be from the outside of this wall to the center of this wall. So the center mark, I do have it here. So I'm just gonna continue this line. And from the outside of this wall, so I can draw one continuous line. From here all the way to here. And then I'm just gonna add the tick marks from the outside to the center of this wall, and from the center of this wall to the outside of this wall. Okay, and I'm gonna add our guidelines. 1/16, 1/8. Those I'm just gonna do in the middle. I'm just gonna double check. 116 and 1/8. This is 1/8. Here and here. And this one is 13 feet 9 inches. So I'm eyeing the center. 13 feet 9 inches. And this one is 11 and 10. 11 feet 10 inches. And this opening, I did this one, and I need from the next one is going to be from the center of this wall to the center of the door. So I do have the center. I can just continue this line and draw a horizontal line here. Do my tick marks. Okay, and I can measure from this vertical line. 1/16, 1/8. And this distance is 2 feet 6 inches. Alright, I'm just gonna double check. We have this closet. I think we got all the measurements in. And we can move on to, I need to add the measurement for the garage door and this dimension. And this door also. So this door is number 2 door, and it is a hexagon. Here it is. And it is number 2. And we need the dimension to show dimension from this outside wall to the center of the door. So I'm drawing a line from the outside and adding the vertical line and adding some tick marks. And I can measure the guidelines. 1/16, 1/8. And the opening, this distance is 2 feet 2 inches. So we have this. Now we need to add the garage door opening. So I'm drawing a vertical line here, from here to here. And then I need the outside of this wall. So I'm just drawing a horizontal line to the outside wall. Adding the tick marks here. And the outside. Oh, this one didn't turn out straight. Okay, now I have it. And now I'm gonna add the guidelines. One 16 to 1/8. Okay, and this is 8 feet 0 inches, and this distance is 5 feet 0 inches. Okay, and now we can add the names of the rooms. Let's do the living room first. It's going to be in the center. So I'm gonna draw a horizontal line as my guideline, and then I'm gonna add the height for each room. The name of each room is gonna be 1/8 of an inch. So I'm gonna draw a vertical line, always measure from the line, never in the space. So this is going to be 1/8. Okay, now I have my guidelines for the living room, and I'm gonna write down living room using my guidelines. Living room. And you're gonna do each room with the 1/8 of an inch height. Let's do the dining room. So center, the center, and then draw a vertical line to measure your guidelines. We're using the actual scale for the guidelines, so it's going to be 1/8 of an inch. The height for the names of the rooms. And this is going to be our dining room. Dining room. Dining room. And the same you're going to do with the rest of the rooms. So you can use the same guidelines for the rest of the rooms, which align with the dining room. And here you're going to write down bedroom. And this is the second bedroom. It is very important to show which direction your house is facing, and we're gonna show it here. I'm gonna draw a north arrow, and my house is gonna face this way. I'm gonna draw an arrow here, like that. I'm gonna use my 45-degree angle. And I'm gonna write down north. And now I'm going to show you how to draw a title box. So we're going to do 2.5 by 5 title box, and we're going to use the actual scale. So I'm going to measure 1 inch here, and I'm going to draw a horizontal line. And I'm going to measure 1 inch here and draw a vertical line with my straight edge. And then I'm going to measure 3/4 of an inch here and draw a horizontal line. And then I'm going to divide this space into 3 equal parts, and I'm going to do it to 1 1/4. And using my straight edge, I'm going to draw the vertical lines. And here I'm going to also mark my guidelines. So I'm going to measure it here. It's going to be about, I need to fit scale here. So I'm going to do 1/16 and 1/8. then another 1/16 space. So over here I can write down the scale. Scale, which is in our case 1/4 inch scale. So it's 1/4 inch equals 1 foot 0 inches. And that's it.